stuff that we're seeing on camera, the stuff that comes to the surface, like in the media, and this big deal is like made about it, that stuff was already happening. It was already happening. Nobody said anything when it was just, oh, everyday like conversation at the dinner party. Oh, ha ha he behind closed doors. Now that crap, you done got so comfortable in the foolishness. Now that joint is surfacing when there's like the whole world watching. It's far beyond friendship. It's far, like, heart combos need to be being had at the offices of these people's workplaces. They need to be being had on police forces. They need to be being had in our churches. They need to be being had in our homes. And if you're not doing it on the most basic, everyday level, this is what happens. It surfaces to the top and it blows up. All of it. All of it. As much as it grieves me to hear about the stuff that's happening right now, but everything in me knows that it did not just start there in the hearts of those people. Like, it's a process. Like, the stuff that we think, we don't just start thinking it one day. We've been thinking it. The question is, have we been saying it? At this point, I'm beyond frustrated. Just the last few days in general, like Biden's comments, that whole situation, it's foolish. Then Amy Cooper's antics in a park with her dog, which really weren't antics at all. I don't understand why it had to escalate to, oh, now I'm going to use my privilege as a weapon, like to make myself sound like I'm in danger, right? So that someone can come and see you as a threat and potentially, like, yep. And lastly, watching George Floyd lose his life. Excuse me if it's hard right now for me to make content about friendships. Like, it's very hard for me in moments like this to be consistent with content and just to talk about the friendship challenge and all of the things, like, because I am discouraged when I see things like this. I'm frustrated, I'm pissed, I want to do something. Like, I get aggressive, I get irritable, like all of the things. And I'm at the same time trying to reconcile my faith with what I'm seeing. I'm trying to wrestle with it through with God. I would like to believe if Biden had friends that were having the heart combos with him, that statements like that wouldn't come out of his mouth. Because I honestly believe that that's not the first time statements like that have come out of his mouth. It just didn't all of a sudden like appear like that time that you were talking to Charlamagne and God. Like no, those thoughts, that attitude have been there. So I'm wondering what your friends of like the people of color in your life, or even just other sound-minded people like in your life, are not just calling out that elephant in the room. Like, I don't understand why that's not happening. I would like to think that Amy Cooper has someone in her life, right, that can just speak to like the white fragility, right, that she was displaying, right, in that video. Was that the first time that had ever happened? Was that the very first time that ever? Maybe, possibly. I don't understand the lack of accountability that's happening in the place. Like, I don't listen. I have people who serve in my family. I legit want to call like those people and ask, like, what is the protocol? I'm wondering, like, why no other cop, whenever any video is surfacing, like, why nobody else is saying anything? Like, is it against like the protocol for him to be like, hey, maybe you're like, you should probably lift your knee up off of him, or like, hey, maybe that's like too rough, or hey man, calm down, like maybe just pull back a little bit. Like, does that, like, what does that look like? It looks like we're not, like, in my mind I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, is there no accountability? Is there none? Like, and again, not just in the big cases, but behind closed doors, when people are saying stuff that's just not right and not appropriate, are you saying something? When people are breaking rules and they work in the system, are you saying anything? When people are like shaving a little bit off the top, and when stuff like that is happening, are you saying anything? Like, your character looks awful on a big screen TV with situations like this. But that character is the exact same character that nobody sees in the daggone dark when nobody's watching. And I'm just wondering, how in the heck are we living next to people? Like, how are we doing life with people shoulder to shoulder, side by side? What's the point? What's the point? People will wonder, why do people turn a blind eye like to big things like this that are happening? Because they're turning a blind eye in their everyday life, period. I'm so just sad and frustrated and thinking like, what can I do? What can I do? And everything in me wants to forget all of it. Everything in me is like, where we going? Like, I'm riding. Like, real talk. Like, I'm tired of having conversations. I'm tired of it. It gets exhausting. Like, posting content, trying to call out stuff in people's lives that are legitimately, this is not just about you and your little friend. This is not just about you and the frustration that you have with your BFF. Like, it's far beyond friendship. Let me tell you how it's happening. It's happening where on the most basic level of our everyday conversations, people aren't being honest about how they feel about other people. People aren't confessing like their prejudices and their insecurities and the stereotypes that they carry. People aren't having those conversations. And if they are having those conversations, people aren't checking them on like, where do you think that came from? They're not doing the work of debriefing and going back to the beginning. Like, how the heck did we get here? You watch a video like that, you should ask yourself, how did we get here? That means that you have to look back at the history of this country and think about how we got here. But nobody wants to do that. Y'all are cool with doing it as long as it's in like little areas of your life that you're like cute and comfortable in. As long as I can get this polished, like, we're okay. But if you actually take the heart of the crap that I'm saying and you apply it to every area of your life, that, my friend, is where the change happens. This kind of stuff is going to surface today, and unfortunately, and I say this with sadness, this particular man's name will become a hashtag. Like, he will be put on a shirt. It'll be a hashtag. I am thankful that justice is being served on some level, but we will move on from him. Like, his family won't. The people who were doing life closely with him won't. But as a whole, I'm saying, like, as a country, as a social media community, like, unfortunately, his name will go into a list of other names of people that we know and some we don't. And that'll be it. And so I post this today to plead with anybody who's watching it to be infuriated by what happened today. Be upset. Make the moves that you need to make in order to see change happen, like, on a larger scale, and join movements and like posts and bring awareness and all the things. But please, in your own life, with the people that you are linking arms with day in, day out, who you're married to, who you walk with, your family members, do the work of cultivating honesty and calling out elephants in the room and showing up as your most authentic self and giving other people the freedom to do the same that are not like you, and addressing real issues in real time, and not just sitting on this until it's all nice, pretty, and perfect and we can say that we have all of the backs. No, like, and be transparent and letting people see the things that they can't see. If you could just commit to doing that in your everyday life, then I would like to believe by the grace of God, that we will start to see change. We will start to see change. And to the church that is trying to figure out, like, and to the Christian who's trying to figure out, like, what is my response to this? How do I deal with this? Like, I plead with you to also be having the heart combos with your communities, with your leaders. And that there will be a call to a standard, not just on a stage and not just when the building is open and not just when the lights and cameras are rolling, but in general, like, just in your everyday life, that people will live out the things that they say they believe and that they say they value. Anyway, I want to say right now that this is absolutely a hard conversation. But if I resolve that this is a hard conversation, then it doesn't move me to action. It doesn't move me to change. It allows me to sit in the feeling of it right now that sucks. And I've had time to sit in the feeling, and I will have waves of sitting in the feeling, I'm sure. But if I don't declare that it is a hard conversation, it's a work to be done, it's a conversation that is ongoing, then I will again be hopeless. And the reason that I have for the hope of that lies inside of me is because I saw hard conversations modeled in my Savior every single day of his life and ministry. And so if he was willing to lean in and to address and to go there, then that is what I will do. And I won't call it a hard conversation. I will call it a heart conversation. I love y'all.